Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over a pattern change which is going to be occurring. We're going to be dealing with really warm temperatures in through the west where we could have a few areas getting up above 120 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to have chillier temperatures in through the central plains and then into the southeast. And then we'll have milder conditions for the northern tier of the country and also in through parts of the west as well. So let's get right into it here, and let's start off with your current National Weather Service page. As you can see, we have some excessive heat warnings scattered throughout the west, and that's for that heat wave which is going to be taking place. That's in that kind of purplish shade. In the orange is where we have the heat advisories, and then we have some excessive heat watches in effect for a little bit of Montana as well. We have a few red flag warnings scattered throughout the northwest, as well as some flood watches in parts of Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, and Iowa. Other than that, we don't have many other watches or warnings. Yesterday, we had a high temperature of 130 degrees in Death Valley, California, with a low temperature tied between 5 places in Oregon and Michigan. So the first one was 12 miles northeast of Sand Creek Station, Oregon. They got down to 31 degrees. So did 8 miles north of Fort Rock, Oregon. They also got down to 31 degrees. 4 miles northwest of Wadden, Michigan. They got down to 31 degrees. 9 miles southwest of Shingleton, Michigan, also got down to 31 degrees. And 2 miles southeast of Rapid River, Michigan, also got down to 31 degrees Fahrenheit yesterday. And then the highest rainfall report was in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey, where they got 5.84 inches of rainfall. No snowfall reports as of yesterday. So taking a look at the current temperature anomaly map from the European model. This is basically showing you where you're dealing with warmer temperatures and where you're dealing with colder temperatures compared to normal. In the oranges, the reds, and even those brown colors, that's where we have those above normal or warmer than normal temperatures, and you can see that out through the west and also into central Canada. And then for the eastern two-thirds of the country, that's where we're dealing with the chillier temperatures in the blues, the greens, and even those purples. So that's kind of how to read this map. Again, in the blues and the greens, that's where we're dealing with colder temperatures. In the oranges and the reds, that's where we're dealing with warmer than normal temperatures. So this would be for tomorrow, and you can see that the pattern is fairly similar to what we're expecting over the next week. It's going to be a fairly stable type of situation. The only things that you're going to really notice that are going to change over the next week is that this area of warmer temperatures is going to kind of shift over, and it's going to move into more around this area over the next couple of days. So we'll shift a little bit. Even the west coast might even go a little bit below normal, but overall it will be a fairly stable pattern. We're not going to see any huge changes over the next couple of days and couple of weeks. Looking through into the start of the work week, you can still see some of those very warm temperatures out west. So that would be closer to 10 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit above normal. And then we're looking at over the eastern two-thirds of the country, still below normal, but now you're starting to see a few pockets of warmer than normal temperatures popping up in parts of the northeast, the Great Lakes, and the northern plains. Eventually, this area right here will go a little bit above normal as we go through this week, especially later into the week. That's when it's going to really start to shift into a warmer pattern for those areas. You can start to see that we're dealing with a little bit of this ridge breaking up. So we used to have, or just a couple days ago from this model, we used to have a high pressure up here in central Canada. That was really helping all that warm air just kind of stay within that area. Now what we're dealing with is that we have two different areas of high pressure. We have one that's just generally centered in through the west coast, and then we have another one which is up near Ontario and Quebec, leaving this middle gap in parts of central Canada and the northern plains. So that area will be fairly close to normal. We're not going to be too far above or below normal in that area. For parts of the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and then down through the southeast and southern plains, still dealing with below normal or colder than normal temperatures in through Tuesday. If we go to Wednesday, you can see that warmer area is starting to break up in the west, and it's turning chillier for much of the country, especially for the central plains and also down into the southeast. So that's going to be the main areas that we're dealing with the below normal temperatures. Although for much of the country, you're going to be only a couple degrees above or below normal. So we're not dealing with huge anomalies on either side. We're really just dealing with with temperatures that are going to be maybe up to 5 degrees below or above normal. So these aren't going to have huge effects that you're really going to notice too frequently. So you're not really going to be dealing with anything that's going to be major, where you're going from 20 degrees warmer than normal to 20 degrees below normal. It's going to be more of a subtle shift over the next couple of days. Taking a look at Thursday, you can see much warmer in through the northeast, as well as the northwest, and also into central Canada. That is the area where we're dealing with really, really warm temperatures. And then in through the central part of the country, and even along the west coast by this point, we're dealing with some colder or chillier than normal temperatures. This would be by Thursday. And then if we go to Friday, you can see not a lot has shifted. We're dealing with everything kind of just moving a little bit further east, but nothing really changed too much. If we go to Saturday next week, you can see that we're dealing with a fairly similar pattern. We have a little bit of warming up in that northern tier of the country. In the northwest, it's also going to be a little bit warmer than normal. And then in the central and also southeastern part of the country, we're dealing with some of the colder than normal temperatures. So that's generally the pattern over the next few days and couple of weeks. If we go to the actual high temperatures, so this is actually going to be timing out and showing you where we're actually dealing with the really, really warm temperatures. You can see that for tomorrow, we're dealing with very, very warm temperatures in much of the west. So the western third of the country, all dealing with really above normal temperatures in that green color. That's where you're dealing with temperatures getting up near 120 to 125 degrees Fahrenheit. You can see that chilly area in through the northeast, the Great Lakes, and also in the Central Plains. And that's going to be an area that's going to start to fill in with a little bit of warmer temperatures over the next couple of days. So you can see that the warmer temperatures still in through the west, but you can see that by Monday, it's now starting to weaken a little bit, and everything is starting to shift a little bit further to the east. So now areas along the eastern seaboard, as well as for the southern plains and into the west, are dealing with temperatures that are going to be above 85 degrees, even above 90 degrees in a few of these areas. And if we continue this forward, it warms up even more in through the eastern half of the country. The west is starting to cool down, but it is still extremely warm in these areas. Still definitely triple-digit heat for many of these areas. So even though you're a couple degrees below what you were just a few days ago, you're still dealing with really, really warm temperatures in these areas that are getting up near 105, 110 degrees in a few of these spots. Taking a look at Wednesday, you can see still very, very warm in the southern plains, as well as along the southeast and mid-Atlantic coast. Starting to cool off a little bit in the west, although still, again, very, very warm, triple-digit heat in those areas. If we move this along just one more frame, you can see how that heat is now starting to spread up into central Canada. So areas like Alberta and also back through into parts of Saskatchewan and Manitoba are starting to get into the 90s and even near triple digit heat in those areas, and that would be in Fahrenheit. So that would be closer to 25 to 30 degrees Celsius for those of you up in Canada. So dealing with fairly warm temperatures in these areas, and that's definitely going to be part of this really big shift in the heat, where we're going to be dealing with it going from the western United States into central Canada, and because of that, we're also going to be dealing with some of that colder air being displaced into parts of the southeast and the southern plains. So we're going to be dealing with a fairly decent shift in the pattern over the next couple of days. Looking at Friday, you can see that it is cooling down definitely significantly, especially along the west coast if you live right along the coast, as well as if you live up in the northwest. Parts of the northern plains, the Great Lakes, and the interior northeast definitely cooling off a little bit, but still, if you live along the east coast or if you live in the southeast or southern plains, still getting very, very warm up into the 90s and even approaching 95 or 100 degrees in a few of these locations. By Saturday of next week, you can see that the pattern has really set in. We're dealing with decently warm temperatures in the west, so definitely not below normal. It's still warmer than normal, but definitely not up to the scale where we were up near 120 degrees. So you're topping out at around 105, 110 degrees in much of the west, so definitely not as warm as what we were dealing with before, but still quite above normal. And then in through the east coast, the southeast, and the southern plains, still dealing with warmer temperatures into the 80s and 90s, and then If we take a look at the Climate Prediction Center's forecast, you can see how much of the west and the northern plains in general, and then back through the northeast, are dealing with above normal temperatures, where we have about a 60 to 80% chance of being above normal. The southern plains are the areas where we could be dealing with a little bit of chillier than normal temperatures, as well as some slight area of the northwest, and that would be the 6 to 10 day outlook. So that takes you from the 15th through the 19th. If we go to the 8th 14-day outlook, which is from the 17th through the 23rd, that's mainly focusing on parts of the west and the northern plains with those warmer than normal temperatures, even a 70 to 80% chance for much of the northern plains. And then in through the southern plains and the southeast, we're dealing with still below normal or colder than normal temperatures in that area. And if you're wondering about how much rainfall we're going to be dealing with over the next week or so, over the next 6 to 10 days, we're dealing with above normal rainfall in parts of the northeast, the Ohio Valley, and the Tennessee Valley, as well as for even parts of the southwest, and then drier than normal drier than normal conditions in parts of the northern Rockies, as well as the northern plains, and also along the southeast coast. So that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.